Okay, so welcome to the next session in the free mini series, the PNCC mini series. Hopefully, if you guys have not had the opportunity, I think I have two or three other sessions in the school app that goes over what is PNCC, who can open a PNCC, and that one I go into a lot of detail on what it looks like for you to be able to open. Who is this person that can open this? So if you haven't seen those videos yet, make sure you go back and look at those. But tonight we're going to talk about the three PNCC models that you can open. Real income, how women are creating 6 and 7 figure income streams from this business, understanding where the money comes from PNCC. And then we're going to talk about the number one mistake most people make and how to avoid it. As I am speaking, if you guys are new, if you have questions, feel free to either put them in a comment. If you feel comfortable, you can jump off the mic and ask the question. I always love questions. It helps me make sure that you guys are understanding what I'm saying, as well as it might be a question that when I do this again, I want to add. So make sure that you guys understand everything. The next session that I have, I believe I'm going live again tomorrow. We're going to talk about, since we're doing the three models tonight, the next one is going to go over how those models turn into real PNCC income streams. And then the last session, this one is going to be available to anyone that is serious about opening a PNCC agency. I am going to put a link inside of the school app. You're going to fill that out. Once you fill that out, we will send you the link to the last session, and that's going to be a training on how to really start building this business now. So, if you guys are new to me, which I think most of everybody here is, you haven't been following me for some years, you probably either met me this year or just now from an ad. So, welcome to PNCC University. My name is Maria Vincent. I am a wife, a mom of four, and I am a serial entrepreneur. I like saying that and don't at the same time because that means that I own multiple businesses, but that also means that I am always busy and I'm always doing something. I am focusing heavy this year on PNCC University, so that's probably why you came across my ad, because, which we'll get into in a few minutes, the state has been making some huge changes, adding money to this program, wanting real businesses to start this agency. And so, with my experience of being in PNCC for over 14 years, I give back. I've actually been coaching this business or this type of program for 8 years. I started off as a client. My daughter, who is now 14, I was pregnant with her. Then, once I gave birth to her, I really liked what this program was doing. So I joined and became a case manager. My best friend, she started her own PNCC agency. I then became a case manager with her and then a program manager. A couple of years later, she decided she no longer wanted to run her business. So in 2015, I started my own PNCC agency. And then about 2 years after that, I started coaching. So I've helped 30 plus women get their application and get approved. I've helped over countless agencies total get reimbursed around 1 million, and I have receipts for that. And then I've helped many women submit their application between 30 to 60 days. So that's just a little bit about me. Who is this program for? Again, I have a very deep dive video in the school app for the free session about who this is for. But most of the women that I talk to, that I help open this, is either a child care provider, because most women who own a child care center don't realize that they can actually open this up too based on their experience and for some their education. And for the most part, they're already doing most of this work, but for free. This is also for you if you are a nurse or a doula, case manager, anybody that works with women, specifically pregnant women, if you have that in your background. This is for you. Anybody that is seeking financial stability, whether a child care provider or any of the other women that I just mentioned. I also 98% of the time work with women. I don't say that much, but most of everything I've actually, since I've been an adult, every job, every career, everything I've done so far has mostly been working with women. I also love working with women who are entrepreneurs or very highly motivated to become an entrepreneur, because to run this business, you have to be entrepreneur minded, you have to be business minded, because this is a real business. And this is not a knock to anybody, it's really to myself. When I first started in 2015, I did not look at this business as a real business. I looked at this as an opportunity for me to work for myself, and I was a case manager. I knew nothing about business, but I definitely learned along the way. And then lastly, this is for anybody that is really wanting flexibility. Maybe you're tired of working 9 to 5. You want more freedom to be with your family, freedom to work around your own lifestyle. This is for you. So pay close attention, because I'm going to go over exactly how you can start this business and have your own PNCC agency, but have it faster and grow it faster than I ever did. So why now? Which I said we'll get to this in just a minute. Medicaid is really expanding funding into PNCC, and they just brought back CCC. So if you haven't watched the video yet, PNCC is prenatal care coordination. That is working with women who are pregnant. CCC is child care coordination. That's working with the mom once she has her baby up until that child turns 7. For a couple of years, they actually did not allow new agencies to operate CCC. But at the beginning of this year, they actually brought it back to allow new agencies to do CCC. So now you're working with the mom once they're pregnant. Once she has the baby, you're going to continue working with her up until that child turns 7. Also, with CCC, you might see a lot of public agencies doing PNCC, whether you might come across WIC or some doctor offices actually offer PNCC. There's a lot that they do, but most of them do not offer CCC. So that is a huge window of opportunity for small businesses like us to step in and provide those services. So I'm pretty sure most of you have heard about the Big Beautiful Bill. While there is a lot of talk and controversy around this, it's actually going to do good for the PNCC program. Now, you might be thinking, but they're going to be touching Medicaid. I actually did a whole live on this, I want to say maybe a month or two ago, and I'll make sure I put that into the school app. But yes, so it does change Medicaid for a lot of people, but fortunately for our clientele, our target audience, who they're either, like I said, they're women who are pregnant or they have a baby, they are exempt. So they're exempt from any changes that might happen with Medicaid. It won't touch them. So that means that it won't touch your funding. So there is Medicaid expansion. In 2025, there's a huge urgency on making sure that culture and diversity is touched on. So again, this is why they allow in Milwaukee County so many different private agencies to open, because they want women in the community to work with women in the community. So again, day 2, which is the next one, we're going to map out what this income looks like for you if you do want to join and start this agency for yourself. And then again, day 3, we're going to really build that out for you. Again, remember, if y'all have questions, please feel free to ask. What are the three PNCC models? And so I've actually worked all three. So the agency owner, this would be, I would say, maybe the overall goal. This is the person who is ready to create a legacy. This is where wealth building happens. This is where you're able to scale. This is when you get to step into your CEO role versus a worker in your business. So, agency owner builds and manage your own PNCC agency. You hire, manage staff. You have multiple contracts. You scale. This option is the highest income potential. Next, I'm going to skip over to solo provider. This is like the second tier. This is if you decide to open up the PNCC agency and then you're going to work just for you. It's only going to be you. You're not going to hire. This is actually what I did my first year when I opened. So I opened, I was approved. I started working with clients. There was direct billing, very little overhead because I actually worked from my living room. I did not have an office at that time. I had my own personal clients. Like everything was just me. And I was learning at that time how to be a business owner. I wasn't ready to hire people, even though at that time, I think maybe I've been in PNCC probably 5 or so years. I just wanted to get a feel for being a business owner. So I was a solo provider first. And then the third tier, which is in the middle, subcontractor. That's for anybody who's like, you know what? I don't want to own yet, but I want to work in an agency. So, of course, you're going to go under somebody else's agency and you're going to work for them. So, that's lower startup costs, of course, because you don't have to put in an application or anything like that. You don't have to have an admin, flexible schedule because most people who have an agency, you are an independent contractor, so you get to set your own schedule. And then it's a great starting point for those who just feel like I'm not that comfortable to jump and just move full speed ahead. I want to go slowly. And so that's subcontractor. But of course, that is lower income. So each model has its own advantages. I've been in all three. Um, Most of my women who went from, I had a few clients who got to six figures in 6 to 7 months. They were agency owners. So, depending on what your goal is, that is going to decide which level you're going to start with. So, income potential. We talked about three models. You got the subcontractor, you got the solo provider, and then you got the agency owner. Subcontractors, you average anywhere between 4 to 6 thousand a month, and that's if you are working full time. That's if you're probably not working, no other 9 to 5, no other business. When I did that, I didn't have another business. It literally was just this business. I had about 28 women on my caseload. This was my full-time thing. And it also depends on how, when you negotiate how much you get paid an hour, that's gonna, decide what you're gonna get. So 2 to 4 thousand, well, I said 4 to 6, it's actually 2 to 4 thousand a month. I was actually on the higher end of the 4K, but again, it was because I did this full time. Solopreneur, if it's just you, you're looking at about 5 to 8 thousand a month because you probably still can only work with anywhere between 20 to 30 clients. 30 is like max, you're pushing it, but that your income is capped. So depending on how many clients you have, how many hours you put in, but you're earning 100% of the profit versus splitting that with another company. So as a solopreneur, you're looking at 5 to 8 thousand a month. Now, as an agency owner, you're looking at around 9 to 25 thousand a month plus more. I've had students that definitely made it to the 60,000 plus a month, but that's top tier. That's a whole nother level. That's like running a YMCA is what we talked about. And so, yes, your income, there's no cap with agency. There is a cap with solo provider, and there is a cap with some subcontracting because it's just you. When you become an agency owner, you're hiring staff, you're getting care coordinators, you're getting program managers, you're getting admin, like you're stepping again into that CEO role, and you are not doing day-to-day operation. You have a team doing that day-to-day operation for you. Any questions so far? I usually have questions. No? Okay. Feel free to ask questions if y'all have questions. We're not going to be here too long tonight because again, I'm a little under the weather. So real success stories. I actually been talking to some of my former students about having them come on and doing a day in a life of them actually running their agency, what they learned from me, etc. So be on the lookout for that because I want to make sure that you guys know that the numbers that I drop, or so when I say I help somebody get from six figures to in 6 or 7 months, that's not just me saying that, like that really happened. So I had a former teacher she hit the ground running. She literally started, I want to say maybe around February, January, February. She started with me. I was teaching her everything by June, and she just missed it by a little bit. By June, she had hit six figures. By December of that same year, she had double six figures. Now I say that, but also there was a flip side. I did have some students that made maybe $10,000 that year. So it's not always, I don't want people to get the idea as soon as you get in, I'm getting six figures. Like there is work involved. And because she was highly motivated, she listened to everything that I said and she just went and did it. So your income potential is based on your efforts and having a coach or a mentor. Let's put that out there. I've also worked with a childcare owner. She wanted to do it a little bit at a time. So she didn't just jump right in there and say, okay, full speed ahead. She baby stepped her way into there. So she made probably around 12,000 a month versus 20K or 30K. I had another childcare owner. I want to say she was like my first real client. Before she even got approved, she was building her team. So I helped her with her application. She put it in. Before everything was situated, she was taking my next course and she was building her income potential as far as like setting up contracts with other companies, having pipelines for referrals. She was hiring staff. She had an office. She had diapers in her, like she was full speed ahead. So as soon as she opened, she had 30 plus clients. So I just said it to say your income potential is based on you, your efforts, and what your goals are, and how fast do you want to be CEO instead of case manager. So, how is PNCC billing creating reliable income? So, many of you, I didn't mention, I did say that I'm a serial entrepreneur, but I have a kid spa here in Georgia. And the difference, I like to use that as an example. There's a difference in income. For Pretty Princess, I am creating events. I am out here, running ads. And not to say that PNCC doesn't do the same thing, but I'm relying on moms to see what I'm doing and want to book a party. I'm relying on moms to see my event and buy a ticket. So essentially, depending on what this economy is doing, is depending on how my income looks for the month based on consumers. When you think about PNCC, it's paid directly from Medicaid. And so I don't have to worry about if one of my clients lost their job or if one of my clients income, was decreased or it does not matter because the income that you get when working and building your PNCC agency, you get paid directly from Medicaid. There's no collection issues. I don't have to go and say, I sent you your invoice. Are you going to pay today? Don't forget to pay 2 weeks before your party. I don't have to do any of that when you're working with PNCC. Same thing. I don't know if how many of you guys are childcare workers. You don't have to worry about enrollment. So I do know that certain times of the year, enrollment can be down. I know that, there are changes to childcare where they have to pay more out of their pocket depending on where they live. So that fluctuates with who's going to be enrolled in your childcare. And then that makes your income fluctuate. That does not change your bills, but it does change your income. So having a second stream of income from an agency like PNCC, you can build and not be scared of not getting paid. You're paid monthly with PNCC. So you submit a claim. You say, okay, it is. So let's just say we're in September right now. We did all this work in August. You get paid for your August work in September. You get paid for your September work in October. And so for every month that you submit the claim, and you're saying, out as an agency, we've had 50 clients. We worked so many hours, we did these things, and you submit that billing to the state, and then they pay you for it. And then the reimbursement right now it is consistent. I always preach, if you've ever seen any of my lives, it matters who is in Congress, it matters who is mayor, it matters who is senator, it matters. And so I always preach about getting out there to vote because depending on who is in office, they can either increase how much we get paid or they can decrease how much we get paid. So Evers, when he got into office, he increased how much PNCC get every 15 minutes. So we get paid every 15 minutes. He increased what that looked like. He increased how much we get overall for PNCC clients their entire time that they're working with you. When Walker was in office, he decreased what we were getting paid. And so some people built their lifestyle on working 40 hours a month with a client. When he came in, he changed it to 10. So now before they do those changes, they do let you know. So that I can say would be what is inconsistent because what we get paid depends on the government. But until those changes happen, this is how much we get paid. Now, time investment, startup versus established business. What does it look like to start up? Because I work with a lot of childcare owners, like a lot. And so one of the things that a lot of women they are concerned with is the time involved in actually starting this up. And so for some women that I work with, depending on where they are, they actually just hire my team to do the whole application for them because they don't have the time. So I do have that option, but I also have the option to work with people. And so when you're doing it yourself, you're looking at anywhere between 10 to 15 hours a week, especially if you take my class, because every week we meet and then you have homework. And so my ladies from yesterday, we had one of our classes yesterday, and you'll find out that the homework needs to be done because now we're doing the next week and we're building on what that homework was. And so you're looking at 10 to 15 hours a week, sometimes less, depending on some weeks are not as heavy. Yesterday they got a lot of homework, so it might be a little heavy. But yeah, you're looking at 10 to 15 hours a week, and that's the application process, setting up systems, learning how to do client intake, learning compliance. One of the sessions that I'm going to do towards the end of the month with my ladies is we're going over compliance as far as the DHS codes. What does this look like? Why do we need to know this? Because, again, for my childcare owners, you know that when you're working with the government, audits happen and you need to know your stuff. And so I don't want to ever set any of my students up to be talking to an auditor and they don't know their stuff. So you're going to learn everything that you need to know so that if they come and maybe they say something wrong, you can say, hey, no, according to DHS, and then you shoot out the numbers, this says this. So get it together. And that actually builds your credibility because you're not just anybody who's opening this. You actually know what this is, how to do it, and you're becoming the expert versus not really understanding and letting them deny you when you should have been approved. So 10 to 15 hours a week. And then as you are an established business, depending on which level you go at, again, whether you do solo provider, agency, you're looking at about 10 to 25 hours a week. When I started mine back in 2015, I actually still had a job. I was working at Rescare and I was working there, whatever, I think 9 to 5, something like that. Don't know, it was so long ago. But I still built my business while working there. And so even if you have a childcare or even if you have a 9 to 5, you can still build this business. I was working with clients after work. Don't tell nobody where you can't because they close. Sometimes during work, I was working on my case notes. I was, printing stuff out, on weekends, I was meeting with clients. So I did figure out a way to build this business and have a job. And then once I had my income to where I wanted to be, I had a nice caseload. Again, I was a solo provider. I had a nice caseload. I was bringing in more than I was bringing in from my job, and I had a nice savings. I decided to quit. And then I did my business full time, and that's been 10 years now. So there is growth in this. Definitely, depending on if you're a solo provider or an agency owner, that time is going to be different because as an agency owner and CEO, I actually worked less time than when I was a solo provider. Because as a solo provider, like I said, I had about 35 clients. As a CEO, I had somebody running meetings that I was still there. I did not check case notes. I did not do billing. I did not work with clients. I was building the business and I got to schedule and have the lifestyle that I wanted based on what I wanted to do. So now here are some common concerns. Do I need a specific degree? And so again, I'm gonna touch that lightly, but if that is a concern of yours, make sure you go watch that video. Who can be a PNCC agency owner? Because I talk about qualified professionals. So you do not need to be a nurse. It's nice if you're a nurse. That'll make it a little bit, not a little bit. That's a lie. A lot of it easier for you if you are a nurse or you do have a medical degree. But if you don't, that's okay. If you have experience working with infants, toddlers, moms that are pregnant in the community, you still can open this agency. You just gotta hire, possibly, depending on your situation. So make sure you go watch that video. Concern, I don't have the time. We just talked about that again because a lot of my childcare owners literally did not have the time. We gave the option for them to hire myself and my team, and we put their application together, so had it ready for them to submit within 2 weeks. Just because they didn't have the time, and we do this for a living, so it was pretty easy for us to do that. Then medical billing sounds confusing. It kind of is, especially if you go on the website, they don't really teach it. And so, if you've ever talked to anybody that have a PNCC agency, they changed a lot of stuff back in 2023, and a lot of people just could not keep up with the changes. They were starting to get their billing denied. They just felt like they were being so treated unfairly. But really, the problem was nobody taught them how to bill correctly, how to have the correct case notes, because what the state ended up doing in 2023 was when you submit billing, we also need to see your case notes. And that was new. They never did that before. And so people who did not understand billing and case notes, they were getting their stuff denied and really not understanding why it was denied because while the state was denying it, they did not teach. They did not say why. So people were left confused. However, my students, not one student of mine had an issue with billing. I went and checked with everybody, like, have you been denied? Have this? No. Everybody that I've worked with had no issues with billing because they fully understood what the case note should look like, what the billing, like they understood everything. I even used to do audit workshops with people who were making hundreds of thousands of dollars, some people making millions of dollars. And when I audit their files, this was completely wrong. Like, I need y'all to go back and fix this because if you get audited, they're going to ask for this money back. So, Medicaid can be confusing, but it's great when you have a coach or you just, I mean, I guess really dig into that handbook and understand what it's saying. But I do coach my students on how to make sure that their billing is right. And then I'm not good with paperwork. Well, that's what I'm here for as far as teaching. I definitely teach people how to do their paperwork, how to understand it, but also when you step into that role of CEO, whatever you're not good at, you hire somebody that is good at it, right? And that's what it means to be a CEO. You do not have to be in every single position. I am not good at making graphic design things, and so I hire somebody to do my graphics. I was good at billing, but I hated it. I hated it. So what did I do? I hired somebody to do my billing for me. So what you can't do or don't want to do, I teach you how to hire for that. But first, I do teach you how to do it because you never want to hire somebody to do something you don't understand. Because at the end of the day, it's your business. And if they're doing it wrong, you should know that they're doing it wrong because the responsibility falls on you. And then lastly, a common concern is what if I can't afford it? If that is in relation to my classes, if you ever see my classes, I have a package that will meet everybody's budget because I feel like the community needs this. The community needs you. And so finances should not hinder you from starting your business. When I had my company, the clients that I worked with, you probably would not have been able to work with them because I always tell people your clients are your clients, my clients are my clients. You might be able to reach somebody that I might not be able to reach. So when I had care coordinators, their clients that they worked with, you have a different tolerance level, for lack of a better word. Like you might have some, like you might be able to jail with somebody that I might not be able to jail with, and vice versa. And so, I think that depending on your culture, depending on your upbringing, depending on your experience, there are clients out there that are waiting for you. And so for me, I try to have a package that somebody, at every price point can jump into so that you can get out there and start working with the lady that is waiting for you. So again, I have payment plans, financing, and then I have packages for pretty much every price point. Now, the number one mistake most women make, they try to DIY it. So many women come to me after A, they tried it on their own. I'm actually working with one lady right now. She just paid me to do her application, but she already got denied. So she already went through the process, did it herself, got denied. She came back and showed me everything that she had together, and I found her mistakes, and they were easy ones. But she wouldn't have known it because she tried to do it herself. And so I've had people come to me after they've been denied for help because they went and DIY'd the situation themselves. B, the second one, I've had people come to me after they've paid thousands to somebody else, or even hundreds because they thought that that person was cheaper than me. And so they went to somebody else and still ended up coming back to me because either one, they got denied, two, they didn't understand what was going on, or that person ghosted them. And it's like, I am so sorry to hear that, which is why if you look at any of my pages, whether it's school app or the Facebook group, I wish I still had my other Facebook group that I had for the whole time, but I had closed it 2 years ago. I'm always putting testimonials because I think it's important that you understand whoever you're going to pay to help you, that they're the real deal, that they really understand what it is that they're doing. So for me, I have yet to come across a coach that has the experience that I have because I've been doing this for 14, 15 years. I've been trained by an auditor. I actually had my own audit. And I've coached women to build their business. So it's very few people out there that can say that. I'm always, I'm an over teacher at times. You can ask my students. I think we were in class last night for 2 hours 'cause I wanted to make sure they understood it. Yeah, so that's one of the biggest mistakes, just trying to DIY it because I believe the application right now is around $800. I think it's seven something. I can't remember the exact price. Maybe we want to say like 720 or something. But just say, let's just say 800. Um, if you pay that to the state for them to look at your application and you get denied, you do not get that money back. It's gone. And so, yeah, that's a lot of money to gamble. And just put that out there. So again, looking at first year revenue potential, you're looking at anywhere from 8,000 within your first 6 months when working with a coach. And also your efforts. I just want to make that very clear. If your efforts are not there, if I give you things to do and you don't do it, you're not going to see that. You're not going to see six figures in 6 months or even seven. By the end of the year, you could be looking at 10K a month. And then you can actually achieve that 100,000 annually. I don't put the million on there because again, I've had people hit a million, but a million, you're looking at high scrutiny from the state. You're looking at red flags, and it's not a bad thing. It's not. Again, you're just looking at more intensity from the state because of what they just went through. Like, okay, oh, here's somebody else billing 83,000 a month. Let's go look. And as long as you're doing it right, you're fine. But just know that they're going to come knocking. So as I said earlier, I believe that everybody with a passion can open a PNCC agency, whether you have those credentials right now or you work for it and get there. I think that everybody can do it. I think that everybody I'm connected to, if you've seen my ad, if you know me, if whatever, I want everybody in my life to have 10,000 months, 20,000, and even 50K months. I say that and I preach that now because it wasn't until I started hanging around millionaires that my thought process opened. I used to think that 100K was enough. I just wanted six figures and that was it. And I got to six figures and you realize that's not enough. But I still never in my right mind thought $1 million status until I start hanging out with people who make a million. I have one friend who makes multiple million a month. Okay. So when you change your network, when you change who you surround yourself with, your thought process different. So when I talk to people, I want everybody that I'm connected to have those type of months because you're worth it. You can. I want you to leave a legacy for your kids. That's what I want. Right. And so that's why I teach this the way that I teach it because one, I don't want you to get into it because of the money, but I do want you to make money. Right. I want you to leave a legacy for your kids. So I'm not even gonna get on that soapbox. That's a whole nother life. So my next cohort starts September 23rd. You'll learn more about that in the next session because I want to make sure that you come back for session two, which again is tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that because we're really going to dig deep into what is the income potential for this. If you want to make those 20K months, what do I need to do? If I want to make those 50K months, what do I need to do? Right. So we're really going to build on that tomorrow. So make sure that you come back if you are interested in the next cohort. Again, I'm going to put a link inside the school app for those that are interested and want session three. There is a pay in full option, there is a payment plan option, and there is financing through Klarna, Affirm, and y'all, what's that other one? Klarna, Affirm. and it's another one. But yeah, but y'all understand what I'm saying. One of those places. So yeah, this is what I'm gonna skip past here just really quick. What are we doing in our 30-day freshman class? We have live weekly coaching. So you get homework and we meet weekly. This month our class is every Tuesday. And so they come to class with their homework. We go over it, I answer questions, and then I teach and give more homework. And so I broke it down that way so it's not overwhelming because there are a lot of little pieces that come to this PNCC application. At the end, I'm going to personally review your application, make sure everything is good. I have templates in there. The more this class grows, it's going to be accountability partners. I do have accountability partners in there now, but there is support through the entire thing. I've been doing this for 8 years. The reason why I do 30 days and have weekly sessions is for accountability. I used to just let people buy my course and then, ask questions if y'all need it, but good luck. Very few people finished. They would spend all that money and very few people finish. And I realized over the years, you don't need another course. You need accountability. And so that's why I do weekly calls to make sure that people are actually getting what they paid for. So, advantages, you get clarity, you launch earlier, and you get results. I've had so many people who either never jumped the gun, and then, like I said, in 2023, they changed everything. So many people realized they waited too long because now they don't even qualify to open. Or they waited so long. I've actually had one person reach out to me. I did her application for her back in 2021. She waited to this year to actually do it, and everything that I did expired. So there is consequences to waiting, right? There is consequences to procrastination. So again, that's why I do accountability. Yeah, that is all that I have for you guys tonight. Make sure that you come back tomorrow for day two. And there will be a day three if you complete the form. I'm going to pin that to the school app, so be on the lookout for that. And if you guys can, I am looking for great engagement. I am building this school site. I used to only use the Facebook group, but I really like this school platform. So if you can, make sure go to the school app. Any aha moments that you had from tonight, let me know. And if you do put an aha moment, I will send you a free gift. See, I'm giving y'all something just for posting inside the group. If you have questions, feel free to message me on school or put your question into the comment in the community. So that is all that I have for you guys tonight. I will see you tomorrow, and you guys have a good night.